Usually, the happiest and most successful practice owners have a mission and purpose for their practice, a vision for its future, and values that guide the behaviors everyone follows. Mission, vision, purpose, and values take some work, but the work is worth it. And my guest today helps her clients figure all of that out for their practices. I'm Carl White, principal at Market Advisory Group, which is a healthcare marketing agency, and I'm also the host of Practice Care. The mission for both is the same, and that's to help private practice owners stay private. That's usually what they want anyway, but care is better when the provider owns the practice because that's when all of the decisions, clinical and otherwise, are made by them. Sometimes they overlap, and it's better when one person's calling all the shots. Let's have it be the care provider because we know the patient's always going to come first, which is what usually happens anyway. But when it's one person, there's no conflict, no anything, and it's a lot simpler. My guest today is Lisa Levesque. Lisa is the principal and business and executive coach at Breakthrough Business Strategies with a focus on healthcare professionals who are technically excellent and need help with the practice of business. Prior to her current business, Lisa held several senior leadership roles at Fidelity Investments and leverages these experiences to help her clients achieve business excellence. Lisa, thank you for coming on Practice Care.
Oh, nice to be here. Thank you, Carl.
Yes, as we celebrate snow, if you can say that here in January
Yay!
as a record, not common for where you are, but taking advantage of it. So for those of you out there who cheer snow, let's cheer for that today. So thanks for coming on Practice Care.
Yeah, thanks again. Always happy to be here.
Yeah, and a returning guest, and lots of good things to
Mhm.
say. We're biting off quite the topic here today: mission, vision, purpose, and values. But we're going to do our
Small.
best to keep just tiny, just a little more. So we're going to do our best to keep it bite-sized anyway.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but I want to start, even though you are coming back. That was a brief bio that I read. You've got a
Mhm.
lot more to say about yourself. So
Mhm.
help us understand you.
Mhm.
Learn more about you.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I've always loved small business. And when I started out right after college, I actually always thought I wanted to have my own business. I got my MBA in entrepreneurship because I thought that would just be the right setup.
Yeah,
But I ended up stumbling into the corporate world while I was married to a dentist. So I had the small business on the side
right.
and helped him throughout his years growing his practice, understanding the business side of his practice while I did my corporate stuff.
Yeah,
And then I just finally came back to it, wanted to be more closely associated in the smaller business world.
mhm.
But so excited to be able to offer, thoughts and insights from, highly successful larger businesses. And, the same concepts work, they just have to be adjusted slightly.
Yeah,
So that's really, what I've been coaching for almost 8 years. I've been coaching small business owners with really the focus on the healthcare folks, and just trying to get them to get the most out of their practices,
yeah.
because they are a business, and they know they're a business, but
They just hope they're
understanding,
not,
well,
some of them.
yeah, I know. And don't make me do all that business stuff.
I
That's not what I
know.
came here
That's
for.
what so and so is for. I know. So eight
Exactly.
years, you've probably seen, I mean, it's hard to say somebody's seen everything, but you've probably seen
Mm.
a lot of different situations. My God, a pandemic's in there. I mean, we've
Yeah.
had extremes on both sides of the extreme of the spectrum.
Yes, we
I
have.
imagine you've seen a lot. Um,
Yeah,
you
that's a
know,
great point. And I think about as you were saying that, and like the pandemic, and one thing that nobody ever likes to talk about, whether it's at the big business or small business, is contingency planning.
oh,
But contingency planning became one of the most popular topics that I talked to with my clients during COVID. And I think people are more open to talk
mhm.
about it now, because of that. But yeah, not to get off track, but
Yeah, I
it
know,
is
I
interesting.
know.
You do see a wide
Yeah,
range of things when you talk to
yeah.
folks over time. Mhm.
Yeah, and large corporate America. I mean, I'd say I did time in corporate also. You and I are a couple of
Mhm.
corporate refugees. You learn a lot. You see what good and bad looks like, and you see what
Yeah.
discipline looks like. Um,
Mhm.
and you see mission, vision, purpose, and values, right? So let's just transition right in there. And
Yeah.
we've done other episodes on one of those, maybe two of those, but we're going for it here.
Mhm.
So, Brass, let's just start. What is in a
Mhm.
mission, a vision, purpose, and values? I see them used
Yeah.
interchangeably. So
Yes,
let's make sure we're all
they
talking
can
about it in
be.
the same way. Yeah. So
Mhm.
Let's go through a mission, vision, purpose, and values.
Yeah.
What's in each one?
Yeah.
Like high level.
Yes. So, yeah. So really high level mission is what the business does. Okay. So our mission is to deliver XYZ or satisfy XYZ. So the mission is what you do.
Hmm.
The vision is where you're going. So in the vision, I always say, put yourself out 5 years, 10 years, whatever works. And if everything goes exactly how you'd like it to go, what does your business look like
Hmm.
then if you could just have it be exactly your ideal situation? So the vision is often isn't necessarily ever fully achievable,
Yeah.
but elements of it are, and it is something to move you towards. So again,
Hmm.
mission is what you do. Vision is where you're going.
Hmm.
Purpose is why do we do what we do?
Hmm.
Right. And there, whether you're a healthcare professional, I'll use dentists as an example. Well, you could easily say, well, I went to dental school to fix whatever problem is in someone's mouth.
Hmm.
Okay. And some dentists that I work with, that's exactly why they do it. I just
Hmm.
want to help people. And they all want to help people, but
Yeah.
I just want to help whatever problem presents. Others I want to create an awareness, long-term strategies for your health. Others want to talk about the aesthetics of it and
Mm.
the self-esteem elements of it.
Hmm.
So it's what is it about it? Why are you in business? Why are you delivering this service
Yeah.
to to your patients? And then finally, the values are how you do it.
Hmm.
Right, they create the culture of the business. And it's funny, when I work with folks and I ask them, let's give me your top 4 or 5 values, and I always think I don't, I'm always naive. I always think I'm going to get, oh, the same ones, and they're so vastly
Yeah.
different, which is really cool. I give them a long list of, here are some examples, but certainly
Hmm.
come up with, whatever you want. And they can be vastly different. And so mission and vision often feel very similar. So people are, and then sometimes people think that purpose and mission are kind of
Hmm.
similar. But if you
Hmm.
remember it as, mission is what you do, vision is, where you're going, purpose, why you do it, and values, how. And you really need them all, believe it or not, to work together to have them be as the most impactful for your
Yeah.
practice.
I like it. So if I take mission, purpose, and values, what, why, and how, and
Mhm.
the vision, but today, and the vision is where do I want to go?
Yeah,
Whether that's different
yeah.
than today or not.
And it's really fun because sometimes we just say vision and we say, where do you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, whatever. Sometimes for the really creative and adventuresome folks,
Hmm.
we go for the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal, right? 30 years from now, we want to be. And it's fun because it allows, when you don't constrain yourself with the day to day,
Yeah.
these are the things that I need to do. And you think about, wow, if I could really let me picture what an ideal situation looks like for me. It's fun to dream. It's kind of like when you buy that, Mega Millions ticket. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is what my life could be like if I
Yeah.
won this.
If I won
This is
this.
what my practice could look like. In an ideal world. And
Yeah.
let's face it, if you're going into work, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, whatever that is, wouldn't you most likely prefer to work in the most ideal environment that you can create for yourself, your employees, and your patients?
Yeah. Who could
So
answer
it's fun to
no to
dream.
that? Yeah.
Right.
What makes a
Yeah.
what makes a good one of these versus bad? And I don't mean like you choose good values or
Hmm.
bad values. I mean like how do you
Mm.
know when you've got, for example,
Yeah.
in one of my corporate stints, it sounds obvious when you say it, but you really get a
Mhm.
good idea of what specific versus vague looks like. And
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's we always when we say something we know what we mean, but 9 times out of 10 the other side
Yeah.
doesn't. And so because it was too
Yeah.
vague. So I mean, like, what
Yeah.
makes a good one? What are the characteristics of a good any one of these?
Yeah. So if you think about, let me see, a vision, mission, I'm trying to think of which one would be the most interesting to
Yeah.
tell you. But it's to be as specific as you can. All
Hmm.
right. So if your mission statement as a practicing dentist is to, our mission is to deliver dental services in the most efficient manner to our patients. Yes, love it. right? I love efficiency. Do you love efficiency? It kind of resonates with me as a patient, but it's not like, you want it to be something that is a little bit deeper so
Mhm.
that it can really clarify the focus of your practice. It can really guide you in how you make decisions about the next step in your practice. And you say, oh, I'm going to be the most efficient versus I'm going to, and you don't want it to be too long either, by the way.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
deliver,
This is why it takes a while.
yes, because what ends
Specific
up, go ahead.
specificity and brevity are hard together. It it's
They are.
it's hard. It's hard to be simple, and it takes time to
Yes.
be brief.
Yeah.
I think,
Yes.
so it's just, it takes a while,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That's such a great point. And to do it right, I think you write out the long one and then you
Yeah.
start to weed out the words that you end up finding are a little bit redundant. Oh, this is kind of the same as that and all of that
Hmm.
until you get to a point where the words that you've elected to use are dead on exactly what matters most to you.
Right. And you're going to
And
have to train new people on it no matter what. But
yes. Yeah.
brevity and simplicity,
Hmm.
and you don't get them in version. So that's okay. So that's one example of what makes I'll
Hmm.
say a quality mission. Again, we're not
Hmm.
judging whatever
Hmm.
the words are, but our vision or purpose. Are there any other characteristics that you say, all right, now you've got something versus you got to keep going?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's funny. It's one of those things where you read it and you just know.
Yeah.
So people will write it, and they'll. I highly encourage people to write it, and we probably take 5 or 6 meetings to review it.
Hmm.
My clients. Okay, this is good. I like it. Is this really what you mean? This is better. I
Hmm.
like it. Um, I'd love to go for an example on the vision side.
Yeah.
And I have a client who I know he'll forgive me for using his example, but he was so outstanding
Hmm.
in delivering the vision. And I'll never forget how it went because his first vision was, oh, I want to deliver a high-end experience to my patients, which was lovely.
Hmm.
Being the premier high-end dental practice in my area.
Hmm.
And that's his vision. That's an okay vision. So we talked about it and he kind of liked it. And then he started working on other stuff. And then somehow out of nowhere, he said to me, boy, you know what? If people would just follow my process and my patients would follow my process, they might actually enjoy coming in to see me. And I perked right up
Yeah.
and I
Nobody ever
said,
says that. Yeah.
no one ever says that. And he changed his vision and he said to be a dental practice that you look forward to visiting. And he's actually tried it out in front of network groups and he gets chuckles. He was like, no one enjoys going to the dentist, but think about what that impact has on his staff,
Hmm.
on his patients. If you're making those statements, you're asking
Yeah.
them afterwards, how was that? How could this have been better? Talking
Yeah.
to your employees. How do we make this experience something that they look forward to, don't mind coming back to? And then people start to get on board. So it's nice, so I
Yeah.
mentioned the BHAG a minute ago. His is kind of a BHAG,
It
right?
is. It
Right?
is. Yeah.
But it to me, like it took him multiple iterations, but when it hit, I perked up, he perked up. I challenged him and I said, "We can go back to this other one." And he said, "This is it.
This
I
is it.
know it's it."
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. Don't give up too early.
Hmm.
A lot of times people think that this stuff is fluff, but when in reality, this stuff is your business's roadmap.
Yeah.
If you're going on a road trip, cross country road trip, you don't just get in your car and drive unless it really doesn't matter to you where you end
Right.
up.
Right.
But if you
You'll end
want
up
to end up,
somewhere.
you'll end up somewhere. Exactly. But if
Yeah.
you know, I only have this many days and I want to
Hmm.
get from here to there, you have to have a bit of a plan. This is, my practice, and I'm going to take a step back for a moment. One of the things that I talk to people a lot about is, do you want to be a production operation or do you want to create something where you leave a legacy? You can create a business where you come in every day and you move your widgets along and it's
Hmm.
very respectable.
Hmm.
Very respectable. Or you can create something that people understand why they're there. And it creates a cohesiveness,
Hmm.
right? Everyone understands why you're doing what you're doing, how you're doing it, where you're going,
Hmm.
from your employees to your patients to yourself. And it creates something tangible that can
Yeah.
live on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of observations. The example you gave, it sounds like what he wanted to do all along was the make it an enjoyable experience. And I
Mhm.
wonder if was he just going down the original path because was there some sort of feeling like that was the universe of
Mhm.
opportunity
Mhm.
was,
Mhm.
and then he
Mhm.
it sounds like he almost said in passing, boy, if people would just follow my process, they'd have a great time here. And that was like the freeing moment, like
Yeah.
say what you really feel. It can be
Yes.
see, was there something like that? So like
Yeah. I think
listeners, this
he
is a great
thought,
example of somebody who when he finally said the truth to himself out loud. Look where it
well, it's
ended up, a
interesting
great
because
place.
he ended up in a great place, but it's interesting because he had kind of had two roads he was going down. He was going down the road of he kept telling me about this three-legged stool of his practice. If you do this,
Mm,
this, and this, you will have long-term dental health. He wants you to have teeth for life. 100 years old, original teeth. That is him. That is
mm,
what he's all about. So he's about long-term health, and I have a plan to get you there. And if you follow it, it's great, and it's going to be a great experience. So he had that, but he also then he had this whole high-end experience feeling. So he started with that high-end feeling,
mm-hmm,
which he still intends to deliver, but
mm-hmm,
he realized what was in his heart was, I want to help people understand that it is 100% possible to have outstanding oral health until you're 100 plus. There's no reason not to.
yeah,
And so that's where, and if you know that you're going in and everything's still wonderful and your teeth are looking great still and
yeah,
they're not, you're not getting the grinding that's grinding them down,
yeah,
all of that. He has a whole plan to make sure that they stay beautiful. Then you're
yeah.
gonna be happy to go there. It's kind of like, oh yeah,
I was just
I
thinking,
don't
like, part of the enjoyable experience is all you need is a
getting an
cleaning
A.
today. Yeah, you
Yeah,
got an A.
yes.
Exactly. All you need is the cleaning today. Yeah,
Right.
you don't need anything
Yep.
else. Yeah. And
So
then the other,
he knew
oh, go
he
ahead.
went from, I'm sorry, but he went from, I think it's this, it almost reminds me of when you're trying to solve something, are you solving the problem or the symptom of the problem?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he, I think, was going back and forth between symptom and problem. And at the
Hmm.
end of the day, he said, and it's not an exact match in my description here, but I still
I
feel
know
like
what you
it
mean.
makes sense.
Yeah.
He wasn't sure which of the two. And when it happened, it was such a eureka moment for
Hmm.
him, and he was excited about where he was going now. So once you nail it, if you nail it right with what's in your heart,
Yeah.
it changes everything.
Yeah.
It changes absolutely everything. He was ready to talk to his staff about it. He said, "Do I talk to my vendors about it? Yes. Do I talk to my patients about it? Yes." And he was excited because he now he knew, I
Yeah.
know what I want, but now I've said it out loud
Hmm.
and now I'm integrating it into everything that I do for my practice.
Yeah. I love it. And then you
Mm.
also said, a lot of people treat it as fluff. Well, it can be fluff. If it's vague or
Yes.
poor, you do
Yes.
it and then it sits on a
You can mail
shelf
it
and
in. Yeah.
sure, you can mail anything in. You can mail this in too. What a
Mhm.
disservice.
You
Um,
want to know when he knew that his hit the nerve is he had an offsite with his team to talk to them about it. And this was new to them, and people don't always buy in right away. But when his staff had written it down and were putting it up on the wall, the vision up on the wall, when they were getting excited about it and were willing to talk about how they can help with that, that's when he knew he nailed it.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
good.
because anybody could be a production-based dentistry practice, like I said. But you know
Yeah.
what? You're supposed to now. You're not going to win, I think, about the world as a competitive place. I mean,
Yeah.
most of your competition's really efficient too. So there's no,
Yeah.
not really, I mean, there's no vision left there. Like the market has caught
Yeah.
up to it, you know.
Right.
Um, in your work with clients, I imagine
Mhm.
there's some practices and some owners that really believe in the importance of this versus those that don't. How
Mhm.
do you
Mhm.
separate them? I mean, because there's believers and non-believers, right?
Right.
So how do you
So,
separate them?
you know, um, you can only push it so far,
Yeah.
right? And once I think everyone is willing to do the values one, and
Yeah.
values is your culture, and that's a nice foundation.
Hmm.
um the vision, vision, mission, a lot of people are like, kind of like you said, what's the difference? A lot of people don't necessarily understand the difference between the two. If they intellectually get it, but it doesn't interest them enough, I'm not going to push the envelope too much on it, because if maybe they're choosing to be more of a production side,
Yeah.
you know? And so everyone tells me I get it. And I understand how important the values are for the culture.
Hmm.
And everyone is want, most people want that to have a great culture, right?
Yep.
And so for me, I just, if someone's passionate, we go all in. And if someone is not quite sure, I'm going to push them a little bit,
Yeah.
because everyone needs that first push or two, because it's kind of, is this fluff or is this real? But once there are certain people that understand that, this is my roadmap
Hmm.
essentially.
Yeah.
And so I need to make sure that's the road I want to be on.
Yeah.
And so I have to work hard. And other people, like, "Yeah, I'm pretty good with where I am, but like, let's make sure we nail our values and we'll put them up on the wall." And that's all good. I mean, that is
Yeah.
excellent.
Something's better than nothing. I know you and I, we are
Mhm.
advisors, right? We can't want it more than them. That's where
Right.
when I
Yeah.
have that feeling like it seems like I want this more than this person, I'm going to stop there because,
Yeah.
I'm not around forever and they are. And so, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
their business at the end of the day.
yeah.
And, if they, and not, it's not one size fits all,
Hmm.
right? Different people care more about other things. We know that these things help.
Yeah.
This is the foundation of your strategic business plan. I
Yeah.
love doing strategic plans with my clients. Not everybody wants a strategic plan. I
Yeah.
want to be incrementally better every year. And as long as I'm making money and paying my bills, that is an okay strategy. It really
That's
is. It
totally
depends on what
fine.
your end game is, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mission could be to be, I don't know, financially healthy and providing great care. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Beautiful.
Yeah. And in that
Beautiful.
example,
But
and then
then,
your other client's example, like they're both, there's some, you wonder, like, how are we doing on this? Like in your, they both have some measurability to
mhm.
them, right? What
Yes.
are 5 ways
Hmm.
we made the experience better this year for our patients
Hmm.
than last year?
Hmm.
Well, we did these
Hmm.
5 things that, it's
Hmm.
great. Like, oh yeah, it's working. Okay. We
Hmm.
can point to those.
Yeah.
And then are we financially healthier? Well, that's a really easy one to measure
That's
too.
easy to measure.
That's
Yeah,
really easy to measure.
absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
um, it's nice. And then you mentioned BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious. I have a
Yeah.
love-hate relationship with BHAGs. The love side is they can be really inspiring. One story I heard
Mhm.
was, this is from a colleague, and she said, let's imagine you're on a team and you're standing at a wall that's 6 feet tall, and you're told, come up with ways to climb this 6 foot wall. Okay, great. Now imagine the wall is 100 feet tall. Are any of those 6 foot strategies going to work? Nope. You have to think totally differently. And that's when BHAGs are used
Yes.
well. Like you can't think
Yeah.
incrementally. When they're used poorly, which also happened in the same company, is the BHAG became the number. It became the next. It wasn't a
Uh,
way to think differently. It was okay. Now
mhm.
you're tagged with that. And I was like, well, wait a
Mhm.
second. And
Mhm.
that's when they're used badly. Like a big, hairy,
Yeah.
audacious. I don't love the word goal in big, hairy, audacious goal, but it's just meant to say if the way in which we're thinking every day didn't apply, what would we do? And it's just meant it's like I take it as a
Mhm.
mechanism to get you to think totally differently about things.
Yes.
And maybe some of
Yeah.
them you go, wow, you know what, we could do that, or we could do some of that. We never would have thought of that any other way. Perfect use.
Mhm.
Perfect
Mm.
use. But just take the
Right.
goal. Maybe it's capital BHA, lowercase g. I don't know. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
I hear
know,
what you're saying though, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I agree with you. And if you use it for that purpose to introduce a creative, like, all bets are off. Let's just be crazy
Yeah.
and think about stuff. You can really get to, because at the end of the day, right? You could say anything. This is
Hmm.
my BHAG, okay?
Hmm.
And there's going to be a road to it. You just may
Hmm.
not like that road,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But oh, the only way I could get to this is if I did these things. And
Yeah.
but that's a beautiful thing, because it's, well, wait a minute, well, what's wrong with doing those things? Or wait,
Yeah.
I would never do those things. And so just thinking beyond the incremental, I think,
Yeah.
is what's beautiful about that,
Or
like
you
as
get
you mentioned
some
earlier.
crazy idea, but I don't know, we could do that, but it makes you think, but we might be able to do some variation of that. And again, you never would have thought of that,
Exactly.
if you were thinking about
Exactly.
day-to-day stuff. Um, One thing we haven't hit on is, so you do your mission, vision, purpose, values, like version 1.0. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you can let them sit on a shelf or you can keep them
Mm-hmm.
alive, right? So any
Yep.
thoughts on keeping them
Mm-hmm.
alive? And I'm also,
Mm-hmm.
I've been told enough times, doctors, dentists, and such aren't the most confrontational people, but occasionally, if you see somebody straying, you've got to say, hey, look, we
Mm-hmm.
don't, that's
Mm-hmm.
not us.
Yeah.
And so thoughts on
Yep.
keeping them
Yeah.
alive and keeping them
Yeah.
relevant and yeah.
Yeah, and so the best way to keep them alive internally with your employees, right, is
Mhm.
is well, I'm a big proponent of developing them with the employees and
Mhm.
not kind of off and then handing them.
Mhm.
But sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't work.
Mhm.
But I'm a big proponent of that in the right scenario.
Yeah.
So you because you need their buy-in. And then you need to show them their role in each piece of it. Right. So
Yeah.
living the values is one thing, but your role in the vision, if I'm the front desk person, how can every one of you can help to get the practice to that vision.
Mhm.
So it's not the dentist or the group of dentists that's pushing. We're all rowing in the same direction. So bringing it down to each job description,
Mhm.
having it be having, elements of their either job description or their goals or however you evaluate them,
Yeah.
having it be part of it. Certainly posting it. I work with a payroll company that is that I network with. They
Yeah.
have this beautiful, their whole mission, vision, values are up. They're posted. They're beautiful in all the conference rooms. I'm a big fan of posting them.
Mhm.
And then again, just how are we making sure that everything we do as a group and individually
Mhm.
contribute to that, and then have meetings about it. And
Mhm.
so it's easy to, like you just said, put it all out there and put it on a shelf, and people get excited about it when it happens. Sometimes they don't,
Yeah.
and then you just shelf it. Okay, got that done. Now let's get back to work.
Yeah.
But it's a part of your everyday work now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
making sure that you keep it top of mind, they keep it top of mind,
Yeah.
is the way to do it.
And this
Not
is a
always
real,
easy.
no, it's not. And it's a real sort of, it's a leadership task, right? So if
Yes.
they're all watching you, leader owner, and if you stray and you kind of forget it, guess what they're going to do? Well, this must not be that important. No.
Exactly.
You can't
Exactly.
delegate this one.
No.
And, because you just can't. I mean, it's your practice, not theirs. So if
Yep.
you're not paying that much attention to it, guess what? They're not going
Mhm.
to either.
One other thing too, by the
Hmm.
way,
Yeah.
once these are in place, it is really critical that they are used as a backdrop during your hiring process, right?
Yes.
So bringing folks in, I've worked with practices in the past. They get this, they love it, and then
Hmm.
they take a look at their staff and they say, only about 80% of these people actually operate under this umbrella. All
Yeah.
right. And there are little nuances as to what the differences are, but these are real. So first thing we say is part of our hiring process going forward. Right? Do they fit in? Do they understand this is what we're about? This is what we mean by this. This is how
Hmm.
we live it every day. This is how it has to show up in how you operate every
Hmm.
day. And if you find someone who is excited about it versus someone who's like, whatever, or finding it odd, kind of recognizing, can they actually live it with you?
Hmm.
So that that's such a critical piece of having it be part of your hiring,
It's
evaluating potential employees.
it's a great point. It's another motivation to go through the exercise. You will find better people who align to how you think and feel every day. Um,
Mhm.
Boy, it matters. It just matters.
Oh,
People,
100%.
great
Yes.
people can mask a lot of problems, but bad people can't solve anything.
Mm,
And
I would agree.
the best
Yeah,
systems in the world cannot compensate for bad people, but great
right.
people can cover up the craziest
Mhm.
Rube Goldbergian practice ever, but it just helps if you can find them. Why not have both?
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Um, this has been really helpful. It's helped me as well. Like I said
Mhm.
at the beginning, I've seen them used interchangeably. I think I get them. It's so plain language. What we do, why we do it, how we do it. Now, where are we going down the
Mhm.
road? If differently, let's make it specific enough that we all get it and brief. A
Yes.
paragraph mission is just
Mm,
draft version 1, but you're not done. So I
mhm.
totally get it.
Mhm,
Is there anything you think we should have covered that we just didn't get to?
mhm, mm. I think, well, first of all, it's a very comprehensive topic, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's true. With the
there's a
context of
lot
we
to
could be all
it.
day on this. Yes.
We could be all day to it, but I think one of the things, a big question is it too late for me? I
Oh
don't have one.
yeah.
I haven't had one. Is it too late for me to start now? And I think of, do you remember the old movie Jerry Maguire and the Mission
Yeah.
Statement?
Yeah.
And he wanted to change,
Now that
he
got
had
him
the
fired. So
epiphany,
don't take
got him
that,
fired, don't do that.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
But
But he
what
rose from
ended
the
up
ashes to
happening,
greatness.
he did. He did. And people laughed at it, or they didn't think they needed it, or they were just, whatever. And so obviously it's not an exact parallel, but I was thinking about it a lot
Yeah.
because he was actually, it was one of those, a lot of times people are like, why do we need that?
Hmm.
We don't need that. And so it's never too late
Hmm.
to start looking at something like this for your business. But it's
Yeah.
all, and it's not, and by the way, don't be afraid. What if I get it wrong? Well, if it's not, first of all, I think it is, as I mentioned earlier, a multi-iteration type of thing.
Yep.
But in addition to that, things always change. AI coming in, I don't know, AI coming in may totally
Yep.
change all of us in our
Yep.
vision.
Yep.
The more we see it, the more pervasive it becomes.
Hmm.
Um, as an example. So it's not, you don't feel like anything's etched in stone, but I can almost guarantee you, if you do it and you commit to doing it right,
Hmm.
you will feel differently
Yeah.
about your practice going forward.
Yeah. It's such a good question. I mean, some people react when they feel enough pain. Most of us are fine until we
Yes.
feel enough pain where for us, we say we need to change
Right.
something. I would say you can wait for that kind of pain to do this, but these things are not quick turnarounds and they're not
No.
the quickest of impact. So it's better if you say, we're feeling the time to do something like this is when you're strong and when you're not feeling a lot of pain. So we
Yeah.
should do this
That's a
because we
great
want things
point.
to get better.
Right.
We want things to get better. And just because we do, and you say, and besides, nothing's etched in stone anyway, never to change forever. Every
No.
I don't know, handful of years, you should look at these. Are these still relevant? Do we need to
Right.
tweak anything? Just like any other
Right.
facet of your business, just like any other facet of your practice. Tomorrow, in, I don't know, primary care, OB, dental, whatever, some new treatment or technology could come out and say, man, we need to look at that. Well, that's a change, right? It's just it
Absolutely.
doesn't
Yeah. Yeah.
nothing kind of lasts as it is forever. So yeah, it's a really good point. Um, so the other wrap up question I ask is, so we've caught listeners' attention. They're like, you know what, she's right. And I say this with a lot of episodes. It's a big topic. I don't know where to start. This is an even bigger topic. Where can somebody get started for this? They're enthusiastic, they want to do it, but
Mhm. Mm.
they're stuck at the starting line. Give them a couple of
Yeah.
simple, practical things you can do to nudge them off the starting line. Just kind of get moving.
So there's a couple of excellent YouTube videos out there on,
Okay.
how to do these and what they look like. So I'll
Hmm.
give you the links to those that we
Please.
can put in the notes. Or you can always talk to someone like myself,
Hmm.
who's a business coach. We all provide complimentary
Hmm.
sessions to just talk through what it could look like.
Hmm.
But talk to someone who's used to doing, who sees kind of,
Hmm.
who knows how to direct you down that flow, that road.
Yeah.
But start with, take a look at the videos. If they interest you enough,
Yeah.
certainly reach out to myself or someone like myself who can
Yeah.
help you refine those.
Yeah. Yeah. What you do, how you do it, why you do it, and where are we going? That's
Yeah. Yeah.
those are much better than mission, vision, purpose, values, frankly. I think I like
Yeah, a
those.
little
They're a
bit,
lot
right?
more understandable.
Easier to remember.
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
understandable. Cool.
I agree.
Lisa,
Yes.
thank you again. A second time here on Practice Care. Looking
Mm,
forward to more. You make complicated things easy to understand, and that's people can't do things they don't understand. So thank you
mhm,
for clarifying this one. I
mm.
appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's always a pleasure with you, Carl. So thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Yes. And a couple of points before we wrap up. Uh,
Mhm,
Lisa provided contact information. They're going to get into the show notes for her episode. So anyone who
mhm,
wants to get a hold of her, get those YouTube video links. Now you've got another way to get them. Um, If you are someone like Lisa or I, you consult the private practice owners, or if you're a private practice owner yourself, either way, you've got some experience on the business side of private practice you think other private practice owners would benefit from, please, we want you to come on Practice Care. Tell the world about it in the show notes for Lisa's episode. In every episode, there's a link, couple of clicks, couple of questions, super quick and easy. Just tell us what's on your minds and we'll get you scheduled as soon as we can. And finally, Practice Care, one word. Please subscribe. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on every player, we're on YouTube. You can watch this conversation of two people barely moving today if you want to on YouTube. We're everywhere. We're easy to find. Practice Care, one word. Subscribe so you can stay up to date with new episodes. We drop a new one every week. Thanks very much. And until next time.